Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1727, and today's date is November 28th, 2018, and the title of the episode is Trump, Fed Much Bigger Problem Than China, Blames Fed for Everything. Now, before we get started, I just want to know if anyone remembers watching the old westerns when the cowboy or the gunslinger would swagger up to the bar, sling a coin across the counter, and ask for another. Chances are that coin would have been a silver dollar. They used real silver coins back then. Between 1878 and 1921, it would have been the Morgan silver dollar, but they went out of circulation when the price of silver went up. They're getting rarer by the day. The Morgan silver dollar is a great coin to start a collection of. So if you want something different and unusual to buy someone for a holiday gift, the Morgan silver dollar might be just the thing. Go to historicsilvercoins.com and for a limited time save $5 per coin with the offer code X22. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, as we can see today, the central bank, Powell, came out and told everyone that everything still looks good. The market still looks strong. The economy is doing fine. We're seeing moderate problems, and maybe we will slow down the interest rate hikes next year. Now, most likely they're going to raise it again in December. And Powell was talking about how they're very close to the neutral rate. And we need to remember and understand one very important thing here, is that the plan is to continually show that the economy is doing well. And if we think back to what the central bankers, what the deep state have been using to gauge the economy, what is it? It's the stock market. They've used this in the past, they continue to use it, and the mainstream media uses it, and they tell everyone if the market is up, that means the economy is doing well. Now, we know this is not true. We know this is fake, phony, and false. And Trump is using this to his advantage, as we can see today. And we need to also understand is that when you have an economy based on a gigantic illusion, where really none of these numbers make sense. The market makes absolutely no sense. And you see things like stores closing down, manufacturing plants closing up, and things like that. You know, you scratch your head and you say, what is going on here? Now remember, the deep state for many, many years with the central bank have been moving everything out of this country, making it completely impossible for corporations to stay in this country. This was being done on purpose. And over the reign of Obama, they manipulated the numbers and they presented an illusion that the automobile industry was doing very, very well. Well, we see that the auto manufacturers, they are not doing well. They just created an illusion, just like they did prior to 2008, 2009, to make everyone think that they are doing well. Now everything's starting to fall apart. And when these companies fall apart and people are laid off, people are not feeling good. They're not saying, well, the economy's doing well, manufacturing is coming back to the United States. And Trump knows this. The people who are working with him know this. And this is why Trump is tweeting out the following. The reason that the small truck business in the U.S. is such a go-to favorite is that for many years, tariffs of 25% have been put on all small trucks coming into our country. It is called the chicken tax. If we did that with cars coming in, many more cars would be built here, and GM would not be closing their plants in Ohio, Michigan, and Maryland. Get smart, Congress. Also, the countries that send us cars have taken advantage of the U.S. for decades. The president has great power on this issue. Because of the GM event, it is being studied now. Now, of course, he doesn't want this to happen. He doesn't want manufacturing plants to close down. Remember, everything that was put into place was not for the benefit of the United States, because they were planning on bringing the United States down to a third world country. So everything was being pushed out of this country. Trump is trying to unwind all of this right now. And this is why he's looking at tariffs. This is why he's getting rid of the globalist trade system and trying to keep the economy up using the same manipulation the deep state has been using and the central bank has been using for a very long time. And that is to make everyone look at the stock market and say, look, the stock market went up again, so everything must be okay. But everything is not okay. And he knows this. He knew it when he was coming into office. They know it sitting in office. They know that this economy is an absolute wreck. There's no way that he can repair it in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Because this is not the people's economy. This is a central bank economy. It's at its end stage. He knows this. He knows that these are all bubbles. He knows that everything's going to come crashing down. But the plan is to make sure that it does come crashing down. So when we look at the housing market, we see that it is completely falling apart. Why has it accelerated in such a huge decline in housing prices, in home sales, and everything else? Because the rates are moving up. And we talked about this. We said once the rates start to move up, people are going to be pushed out of the market. People are not going to purchase homes. And we're seeing just that. We're seeing that new homes, existing homes, they're all starting to crash. And by the way, new home sales have now missed expectations for 7 consecutive months. Guess what else is happening right now? Well, we see inventories that is skyrocketing. Now, why is that moving up? Well, because people are thinking that the housing market's doing fantastically, and their housing prices are at the highest they've ever seen, and they're saying, okay, let me sell it. But everyone is a little bit too late right now. So everyone's putting their house on the market. Traffic is drying up. People are sitting there going, okay, what's going on here? Let me lower my housing price a little bit more. More houses come on the market, and you're seeing inventory build up right now. But there's no one buying. Guess where we saw this? We saw this back in 2006, 2007. We're seeing the same thing happen. Right now, we are seeing in the Midwest, houses, the purchasing of houses has dropped by 22%. In the Northeast, 18%. In the South, 7%. In the West, 3%. Everything is declining very, very rapidly. And Trump knows that the economy is deteriorating very, very quickly for what the Fed is doing right now. But what he needs to do is he needs to make everyone believe that the economy is going to continually do well. And the Fed is responsible for what is happening right now and is going to be responsible for what is going to happen. Now, Powell was out there and he was defending his rate hike, even though Trump was out there blaming the Fed. And Powell said the following: rates are just below range of estimates for neutral policy. And of course, this raises the question of whether he's walking back on earlier view that neutral was a longer way off than he originally thought. No, what he's doing is he's trying to work with the plan. Basically put the idea out there that, okay, we're very, very close now. Maybe we'll slow down the rate increases. Now, of course, the mainstream media, the investors, they didn't like the rate increases. They liked the interest rates very, very low. And once they heard this, the market skyrocketed. Now, Trump was out there and he was blasting the Fed chair. Of course, he's saying, I don't know why I put him into this position. I thought he was going to be an easy money chair. He's an interest rate Fed. I don't understand. He realizes that he cannot raise interest rates the way he's doing. He's going to destroy the economy. And he said that this string of negative economic developments, including the stock market, General Motors, and all these people that are laid off, and everything else, it's the Fed's fault. He says, I'm doing deals, and I'm not being accommodated by the Fed. So far, I'm not even a little bit happy with my selection of Jay. Not even a little bit. And I'm not blaming anyone, but I'm just telling you, I think the Fed is way off base with what they're doing. He actually went as far to say that the Fed is a much bigger problem than China. Let's think about that for a second. China, who's been stealing our military secrets, stealing everything, or has been given our secrets by certain individuals like Clinton, he's saying the Fed is worse than that? The Fed is worse than China, who is not working in the best interests of the United States, where they were set up as a manufacturing powerhouse, where they were set up to make all the profits, so all the corporations would move into that country. He's saying that the Fed is worse than that. So what does he know about the Fed? Why would he say something like that? Because he's dropping breadcrumbs. He's letting everyone know the Fed is responsible for all of this. The Fed is in the kill brackets. Now, something Putin said is very interesting. Putin says, we aren't aiming to ditch the dollar. The dollar is ditching us. Now, he went on to say that we are not setting the target of moving away from the dollar. The dollar is moving away from us. And those who take respective sanctions decisions are shooting themselves, not just in the foot, but slightly higher. As such instability in calculations in dollar creates a desire of many global economies to find alternative reserve currencies and create settlement systems independent of the dollar. And he said, to underscore all of this, that Russia is not alone in moving toward de-dollarization. We're not the only ones doing it, believe me. So the dollar is actually not working out for many countries. Now, yes, there are sanctions on certain countries. On Russia, sanctions are on many individuals, certain areas within Russia, but not Russia's government itself. And Russia has been trading outside of the dollar. Many countries have been trading outside of the dollar. Putin knows this is a central bank dollar. Putin knows that the days of the dollar, they are numbered. Why do you think all these countries are protecting themselves against when the dollar dies? Why do you think they've been amassing a huge amount of gold? Why do you think they're making their own payment systems? Why do you think they're convincing other countries to do the same? Because they understand that this dollar, this central bank dollar, it's not going to last forever. And when it goes down and crashes, they need to be prepared to weather the storm. And many countries are doing the same. If you look at Africa and many other countries, they're looking towards other currencies and ditching the dollar. Because the dollar, well, it's not working out for them. The system that was set up back in the 70s, where countries, held the dollar in reserves, paid for the oil, then used that to purchase items here in the United States, and we manufactured things back then, we don't have that anymore. The system is dying very, very quickly. And you can see the agenda that Trump and Powell are following. Continually push the economy to make it look like it is doing well. Trump then blames the Fed for everything that goes wrong. He's making deals. He's making the economy looking great. The Fed is responsible for destroying it. That is the narrative that is being set up right now. Go back to the Q post very early on back in 2017. Q mentioned all the Rothschild banks. The target is the Rothschild system. But you just can't take them down. You just can't say, okay, we're going to do away with them. Yes, you could try, but it would destroy everything in a split second. Certain things need to be put into place first. The plan needs to be followed. And this is exactly what they're doing. This is why Trump has been trying to reverse a lot of what had been done already. All the globalist deals, reversing the tariffs, reversing pretty much everything. But can he do everything in this short period of time? No, it's going to be completely impossible. But he can do as much as he possibly can and set up trade deals, bilateral trade deals, and work with China and Russia to weather the storm when they make the push to get rid of the central bank. And in the end, this will be the push because, as you can see, he's been setting this up for quite a while right now. And his blame game is going to accelerate as we move into next year. Now remember, the neutral rate is that 3% rate, and we're probably going to hit it mid of 2019. And we're going to see the economy really start to fall apart once we get closer and closer to this point. And we can see that because the economy is one gigantic illusion, look how quickly it falls apart as the Fed increases the rates by 25 basis points. Isn't it amazing how housing and everything else all of a sudden starts to fall apart. Forget about the stock market. Forget about the manipulated unemployment numbers and the GDP numbers. Those are meaningless. Once you see manufacturers, once you see companies, and you're going to see a lot of companies laying off, once you see all these companies and everything laying off, this is the illusion that they produced to make everyone think that everything was fine. Now, remember when they were producing this illusion back in 2008, actually going all the way back to 1913, but since 2008, they needed this illusion to be alive and well because their plan was to blame this on an event, as we've said many, many times before. Now this illusion is being used to blame it on the Fed. They turned it around because they were going to blame this either on Russia, North Korea, whatever they had planned, whatever country they can blame this on. Now they don't have this. Now it has been completely turned around, and Trump is out there continually blaming the Fed. So every time the Fed does something, they are blamed. If the stock market goes down, they are blamed. If a manufacturing plant closes up, they are blamed. If the economy slides, they are blamed. Think about what is happening right now. They're being blamed for everything. They're the scapegoat. They're the ones who are going to be put out into the spotlight where everyone can see and everyone's going to understand that they are the ones responsible for destroying not just the U.S. economy, but the global economy. How will everyone believe this? They're going to have to do an audit. They're going to have to make the Fed transparent. They're going to have to take control of the Fed. Putin has done it already. He's taken control of the private Western Central Bank. Once Trump takes control of the private Western Central Bank, other countries are going to follow. This will destroy the Rothschild banking system. Because once countries say, you know something, you no longer have control over this. We are now taking control. And we're not going to loan the currency with interest attached. We're going to create the currency ourselves. There's no reason to have you. This will bring down the Rothschild banking system in a split second. Now, of course, we're going to see a lot of bumps in the road. A lot of countries are going to suffer for a little while. But on the other side, the global economy, the U.S. economy, it's going to prosper. And debt will be wiped out. Everything will look a lot brighter, but we need to get there. This is the transition portion of it. Think about when Russia collapsed. There were, food lines. People couldn't get food. People had tough times. Yes, they went through a very tough period. But this is on a grander scale. And it's going to be a little tough going forward. And this is why you need to be prepared and ready for what is coming. And you need gold. You need cash. You need cryptocurrency. I know cryptocurrencies are bottoming out. So did gold and silver. But you still need these because eventually what's going to happen, the real market forces are going to come into play. And you're going to see things change quite a bit. Remember, everything has been under the central bank's control. They allow the things they want to go up and don't want other things to go up. They keep suppressed. They don't want gold and silver going up because that shows that their system is dying. They don't want cryptos going up because they really want to create their own cryptocurrency system that they can control. But once they're removed, you're going to see a huge difference in the way the market really works. Right now, we're so used to a control market, we don't even remember what a free market is anymore. But we will see that once again. So be prepared. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.